Welcome kindergarten parents to Parent Quick Smarts Unit 5. In this unit, students will be introduced to two-dimensional shapes such as circle, square, rectangle, triangle, and hexagon. Knowing about shapes lays the foundation for understanding the world and describing both natural objects and those man-made. Working with shapes strengthens children's spatial sense. They will have many opportunities to sort and build shapes by given attributes such as the number of sides and the number of vertices or corners, using a variety of tools and objects. These experiences will help them to identify the shapes by name. Eventually in this unit, children will be tasked with composing basic shapes to form new shapes, for example, using squares to form a rectangle. Therefore, students will need a solid understanding of the attributes of two-dimensional shapes with objects first and manipulating those shapes by flipping or turning them. For example, a student will realize if they turn two triangles with the long sides fully touching, they can make a rectangle. As students learn about two-dimensional shapes, they are building background for three-dimensional shapes later in kindergarten. Before learning the name of specific shapes, students will learn to identify shapes that are polygons, two-dimensional, flat or plane shapes that are made up of straight line segments and are a closed shape, and non-polygons. It is important for them to see representations of both. Gradually, the students will be introduced to the two-dimensional shapes and be able to describe the shapes by their name and attributes. However, children need to understand that no matter the size of the shape and how it may be flipped or turned, it is still the named shape. For example, in the slide above, the red triangle is shown in two different positions by turning it. Nevertheless, it is still a triangle. The blue triangles are the same shape even though one is smaller than the other. Another thing we must keep in mind is students need to recognize their shape in their regular and irregular forms. Unfortunately, most of the children's toys on the market only show representations of a shape in the regular form. This creates a misconception for children entering kindergarten that the irregular forms of the shapes are not the same shapes by name. Let's look at the shapes displayed in this slide. Notice the pink hexagon. It is a hexagon because it is composed of 6 sides and 6 vertices. This is the regular form which most children will recognize, but the yellow shape next to this one is also a hexagon because it has the same attributes. Children would not recognize both of these shapes as hexagons when entering kindergarten. Exposure to all of these representations is key. This slide shows the vocabulary your child will become familiar with during this unit. We use the term vertex to represent a corner and vertices to represent more than one corner. Polygons are composed of straight lines and no curved edges. However, non-polygons will have curved edges. In kindergarten, your child will have exposure to build, name, and identify polygons up to 8 sides, which is an octagon. In the vocabulary shown, the word rhombus is the shape that we were taught as children to call a diamond. Diamond is not a mathematical term, rather the name of a stone. Here are example tasks your child might encounter in the classroom during this unit. The task on the bottom requires students to mark each side, count the sides, and then write the numeral representing how many sides within the shape. Students will sort shapes in a variety of ways. For example, at the top right of the screen, a student has sorted shapes by the number of sides. There are many ways students can build two-dimensional shapes. One example shown above is when students use toothpicks and balls of clay to construct each shape. The toothpicks represent the sides and the clay represents the vertices. We want students to be able to combine shapes to form new shapes, like in the picture on the top left. Here are some ideas to further support your child at home. These are tasks that will strengthen the child's grasp of the skills. While your child is playing outdoors, you could draw shapes on a sidewalk and, for example, ask your child to hop on a shape that has 4 sides. Another way to practice with shapes is to construct shapes using pipe cleaners or toothpicks and clay. You and your child can build these shapes together and practice naming them using their attributes. Keep in communication with your child's teacher. You can access additional support materials on Think Central by logging on with your child's lunch number, and the password will be your child's 2-digit month, 4-digit year of their birth. For example, if your child's birthday is April 2008, their password would be 042008. See you next episode.